Hello and welcome back to Purple in Peril, a Warlock life. This is level 10. For any of you who've ever played as a Warlock, you will know that 10 is very significant. Significant for the fact I've forgotten to put my Evard's Black Tentacle spell I just got onto the bar. So the web is going to be relegated to the second slot. And this is just in every Warlock life, this is kind of the coming of age of your character, or win button if you want it that way. 30 spell points, but well worth it. Don't do as I so often do and forget to put the level 4 ingredients, the Heart of Hen, which is required to cast the spell, into your inventory. At level 10 you now can use the teleport scrolls no fail regardless of your UMD, so there's nothing to stop you going to the portable hole and getting all the ingredients and scrolls and whatnot that you need. For any divine scrolls, the likes of Raise Dead, Heal, Resurrect, that kind of thing, go to the Jurasco Arcane shop instead. While we are on the subject of spells, we've just got the first level 4 one, so let's discuss some alternatives. To be quite frank, there are no alternatives to Black Tentacles at level 10. It's just a must take. For a second level 4 spell, Hold Monster isn't terrible. That uses enchantment though, but that could be good for holding a nasty red crown or a reaper until the team are prepared to deal with it, or just to slaughter it. True Seeing maybe, to give to see secret doors obviously, but we have that on our glasses. If you didn't have that, that could be good for that, but also to give to a friend, a melee or a ranged, who might not have ghost touch on the weapon, so might run into trouble against things that are blurred or displaced. There aren't that many compelling choices. Some might just take teleport to not have to bother with the scrolls, but again, you'll make, especially at the cap, you'll make so much platinum you won't be bothered about spending a few thousand on teleport scrolls. So probably Tentacles and Hold Monster. I won't take Hold Monster because my DC will be too low, not being charisma focused. So I don't know what I'll take as the second level 4 spell. It probably nothing of any significance for the gameplay side. As usual, I missed telling about a feat selection. At level 9 we got another feat. I took Force of Personality, which is allowing us to use our Charisma modifier instead of Wisdom for our will saves. So now you can see we have a decent will save. If you were going down the more traditional Warlock route, the caster, the DC caster, Past Life Wizard is a very compelling choice at 9. Arcane Initiate for 1 DC on all spell schools. If you don't have that, you can consider Spell Focus Evocation to improve the chances of your blast doing full damage. Conjuration to improve the damage potential of your Evard's Tentacles, which we just got. Or there is Mental Toughness for more spell points and a 1% extra crit chance. What was I going to... Oh, Reaper points, yes. Level 10 is the second tier of Reaper points become available for selection. As you can see, I've spent all mine anyway. I thought about respecking to go full into the Grim Barricade tree, but I think I'm going to leave these for now we're not doing so bad as is, so I don't see any compelling need to respec for the moment. You can take the second cause as well at level 9. 1 to all saves and 20 maximum hit points isn't bad, but I'm going to leave this as it is for the moment. I just wanted to mention that it's a thing at level 10. You can have these second tiers if you happen to have the Reaper points for them. I have equipped some of these, if I can press the right key, come on, eventually we'll get there. Some of these planar girds to show you. The belt with the greater heroism clickable. Not that, oh actually, we don't have it, we don't have the heroism on the gear anymore, so we probably do need to click this. So more by luck than judgment, I did something right for a change. Which leads me nicely into the last bit of the preamble. The gear is mostly changed as well. Now there's no need, really no need to do this. If you had a decent set of Slave Lord's gear, you could totally put that with the Ravenloft set, which is the Barovian Regalia, the Burnt Scar Sash, or the Thrumming Spark Cord if you happen to be lightning or cold, and the gloves, which I don't have on, the blur fingered gloves I think they're called. I haven't equipped the gloves because I did quite a bit of Kenneth crafting for this level, and this here, suddenly we're bothered about force again, because which is impulse on these gloves, because the tentacles for the level do a lot of damage as well as crowd control. So I wanted to boost the force spell power up as high as I could, so we've got impulse and insightful impulse on there, on the gloves. So I'm losing 20 or so universal spell power by not having the set bonus, and maybe 1 DC and some other bits and pieces, but I can live with that. We're not too bad for spell power. We're in the 200s for the ones that matter, the acid, force and light, and 20 plus crit chance for those, so that's not terrible. If we had 3 past lives in 3 arcane epic past lives, we could be boosting the acid one by 9 spell crit chance. It's no big deal. Acid is only half of the blast damage anyway, and we couldn't boost the force and light in the same way, so it's fine. So gear, just quickly, goggles, you'll tend to find this when people craft things, the goggles, they can use it to boost the most desirable spell school at the time. So as I've just got this black tentacles, the most desirable is Conjuration, because that's a big AoE and it does also do damage as well as crowd control. So I've gone for Conjuration focus there. Tentacles also has a spell penetration check, so the insightful spell penetration there won't hurt us either. The helmet is still the same, you've seen that, the profane spell focus. New necklace, charisma and constitution. Insightful charisma, because this was all this gear was for a proper DC Warlock. You'll see the bound and attuned there, that's the Stone of Change ritual, and the Eldritch Resistance, so we've got a +1 bonus on saves there, stacking from that ritual. Absolutely not needed, it's just something I looked into and did one day. If you have some a piece of gear, I think it can only be put on random loot, this bound and attuned. I think I'm right in saying that, not on named gear. But if you have some, like me, some Kenneth crafted gear that you use often to level with, maybe worth looking into. Or even even an endgame gear. Actually, my Druid Fools has Kenneth crafted goggles for endgame, so maybe I should look into that for one more on saves. I'll make a little note. Okay, Trinket, Radiance for the light spell power. Spell sight, I think we've got covered on the on the Barovian Scepter, which we've just fitted. I'll come back to that. So that's duplicated. Insightful Corrosion. You remember I said you can Kenneth craft insightful things from level 10. Well, this is one such example, and that's one reason we've let go of the Hull Melter's Mace from here and swapped in instead this Barovian Scepter. So that's giving a boost to all spell powers with the potency. Insightful potency, so that's an insightful boost to all spell power as well. And spell sight and insightful spell sight, that's just more spell power. So for a character like this who's dealing in several different spell powers, we've got acid, light, and now force that we are keen on boosting. It's not a bad choice. The cloak's been changed. We've got some dodge in there. The wisdom is kind of redundant because we're now using the charisma for our will save. Insightful intelligence just gets us one more spell power. That's a nice item for us at this level. That's taking care of our acid spell power and crit chance, and also happens to have a Reaper power bonus on there, which is nice, along with our Master's Gift augment for a bit more experience. You'll notice we've upgraded the topazes of resistance now. The gear has 15 resistance items in, so apart from Sonic, which you don't see much of in opponents, we've got 20 across the board and 25 for acid, so not terrible. Here, defensive item, sheltering and physical sheltering, that's more PRR and MRR, along with the light law. So we've got Radiance law there, 11, that's light crit chance, and then that stacks with the insightful Radiance law 7 we're still getting from our orb. The gloves, as I said, force spell power, impulse, and resistance bonus to saves, which you'll be getting used to seeing now if you've followed along. These boots are very nice. It's one of the first sources of freedom of movement, so you can't be hit by hold spells and that kind of stuff. You'll find you still do get tangled up by certain things. It doesn't work on everything, but it's still very nice to have, because to be caught by a hold spell and just standing there helpless, it's very often results in a death. Extra con there, extra hit points, and kinetic law, that's the force critical chance for the black tentacles that we've just got. Parrying is another nice one. I think that's first available from 10. That's an insightful bonus to saves, so that's nice. Spell saves, I think I said already, that's a bonus to saves on top of your standard saving throws that caters only for incoming spells, so either from a trap or an enemy caster, and we've still got our Sapphire of Heavy Fortification there. And the robe, as I mentioned, this has exactly the same power boosts on as the level 5 Feywild one does. +8 universal spell power, +3 crit chance. So the level 5 one is insanely good. Actually, I have a feeling the Shan caster one is the same too. So the level 5 one is just, yeah, super, super strong. I think I have waffled on enough. So let's go ahead and get into the quest. I've turned all the meta magics off this one because this is a long old quest. And shrines are a thing, so if we start running low, we'll top up. And I was just thinking about it. I want to demonstrate as well as possible the potential of this black tentacles. I think we'll change the one I was going to do. We'll go and do instead the Tier of Dhakaan, because this has big packs of opponents, and you're going to see better the potential of this this new spell. Damage output wise, I could totally go higher than Reaper 1, but since we are stubbornly refusing to have any kind of proper heal, I'll stick with Reaper 1 to keep the incoming damage manageable. The higher you go in the Reaper skulls, the more spiky the incoming damage can be from opposing enemies. So we'll stick with this. I'm not going to go through all the optionals here, just the straight route to the end. So that's our belt for the greater heroism. Shield. Perhaps once we get to 12 and we change to the Enlightened Spirit tree, that has a ticking aura that gives temporary hit points, so maybe then I can do away with the false life and get shield instead, so we're not having to recast it with the gloves all the time.
Dank water drips on you from the moss hanging above.
So look, all I did was the tentacles, and everything is dead over there, more or less. And in very short order. It is on a reasonably long cooldown, however, so you still want your web for the times in between. I think it's on an 18-second cooldown. So I'm not going to shoot the blast at all, just drag everything into here and look, it's all dead. That's the tentacles for you. In fact, I could very likely get away with just using that and not shooting the blast at all. So you can quite plainly see there the damage potential, and also the reason why I say I could have gone much higher in the Reapers than 1.
Just steps ahead of you, an open shaft descends into water. Paths continue further to the north and west. Moss frames the entrance to a large room with a lone bridge, the perfect location for an ambush.
Got some archers over on the other side of the room there. They're going to let us pull this lever in peace. Just about. Oh, that was a... So that's an example of poor targeting. If you want your spell to land where the opponents are, let's see if we can do an example. Press tab to to land on the... I don't think we'll have time here. Oh yeah, I can... So, see that nothing's targeted. Now we tab, and I've targeted an opponent. Hit the spell when we're close enough, and there you go, it lands right on it. Now if you don't do that, it's going to cast just in front of you, which generally speaking won't land on the opponent you want to hit. So in this room we've got 3 valves to pull to open the way forward. First one we just did, the second one is underwater here. The third one is up here. Now the quest is so called because if you're doing the full version, you go around trying to assemble to collect the all the 6 pieces of the tier, and really going all over the place and having to pass in some cases ability checks for levers to pull and that kind of thing. It's a long old quest if you want to do the whole thing. I can show examples of 2 of the pieces. I'll go slightly out of my way and show a couple of the pieces as we pass through. You do get a small experience bonus for collecting each piece. In you come, people. Let's have a tentacle party. Oh, that's not good. Where's that coming from? Oh, hello. Trying to sneak through with invisible here. That'll do. Got another champion somewhere here. That's one use for your blast if you know something's there or thereabouts.
A pipe waits at the end of
and
this
you
hole,
can't see it, just send the blast out and the chances are it'll reveal it for you if it hits it.
From the pipe, you find yourself in a cavern instead of the
Lots of
familiar
opponents
sewers.
expected
You
here.
must be getting close to the village of Arzak Khor.
Try to get everything in here. The tentacles combines particularly well with the tier 5 in the... Can I show it? In the Soul Eater tree, Eldritch Wave. That's like a sort of a cone, but 3 blasts together, and you can put all your meta magics on that. So you drop the tentacles and then just hammer that wave into the mix of the opponents, and nothing survives that.
The caves continue to twist and turn. Many intertwining footprints suggest that the Hobgoblin village is nearby.
Quite a big group, so we're going to throw the tentacles down. Fear Reaper in the back there. Oh, 2 Reapers actually. One I never even saw, and the tentacles took care of it. Happy days.
A single lever is
There's a
mounted
trap
on the southern
when you
wall.
pull this lever, so
Might
just pull it
control the
and
door
go.
in the previous passage.
Plenty of opponents round here as well, so we can block the door with our tentacles. Another poorly targeted web spell. I'm doing a good job of illustrating the importance of targeting.
The tunnel opens into an expansive cavern.
Now,
The
this
Azad
section, very
core
important.
city
These things
looms
constantly
before you.
respawn.
It is
So
dangerous to
that
remain here.
gateway down there that you can just about see is the way onwards. Get down there, take out anything that's immediately in the area and just go through the gate. Pull the lever and go through the gate. Do not loiter in this room because they're constantly respawning. This is an example of one of the pieces of the tier. Now there's a clay golem in there, so it gives me a chance to illustrate another side of the build. Our acid actually heals clay golems. Oh crud! So I have to turn the blast off by clicking it on the bar before we go to engage it. Single target blast for a bit more damage. I could and should probably have used the tentacles, but we're running a bit low on spell points, so we'll go cheap and go with the... Don't forget to put your blast back on when you've done. You'll have noted the colour of the blast changed. The green was gone when I switched that off. So that's a piece of the tier. There's no need... Oh, what shot me there? There's no need to go in here, other than for that bit of optional XP if you want it. So we're just going to drop down towards that doorway.
Looking out at the waterfall, you think you've glimpsed
Oh, put the cone back on as well.
how to get up there.
Stanch for a bit of extra health. Tentacles to try and occupy those guys. Allow me to escape if I can. Invis. Oh my god, they're not going to let me out, are they? You two that were shooting me. Okay, let's try again. Right, that's the key thing, getting through that door. Once you're through that door, you have a much more defensible position. If things start coming through, they won't come piling through. Most of them will just stay in the room behind, said he, hopefully. Another big concentrated area. When you move in here, you'll see the boss appears at the back there. Tentacles takes care of all that very nicely. Stop shooting me, people. That's another example of the somewhat difficult targeting of the stricken and consume. It can be a bit hit and miss. You can see I'm running low on spell points here. Don't worry too much as a warlock if you start running out, because as you can see here, you still do very nicely with just the blast. The spell points just give you a bit more crowd control, and in the case of the tentacles, another option for damage. See, now I'm on Echoes of power. Can I just grab this chest? Yeah, okay. Probably shouldn't have done that. We have a shrine here. I'll just make use of for the recharge the mana. The shrine, if you didn't know, does give you back a little bit of health as well. Not an enormous amount, but in our case, with us not being able to self-heal. Remember, it does also remove your stacks of depravity, so we can't use the stanch ability immediately after shrining. Good to go. Plenty there. Tentacles down.
Leads down into yet another cavern.
There's going to be plenty coming through here. So our tentacles are on cooldown. We're going with the web. Just be a bit careful going through this next door because they're gonna come from both sides, I think. So we'll hit the tentacles, get in behind it, so they have to come through it to get to us. And that's the job done. So 2 things to bear in mind there. First of all, the devastation caused by the tentacle spell, which you absolutely must take as a level 10 spell for a warlock. Secondly, it does drain the spell point pool a little bit, so have that in mind, and where there's only sort of 1 or 2 opponents, just be a little bit more selective about how you dispatch them. You have plenty of options, you know, stricken and consume and your standard blast for getting rid of stragglers. I think that's about it for episode 10. Thank you very much for looking, and I will speak to you soon.